What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Scott Proctor alongside my guy Matt Morris. We're back with another episode of Simple Question. We have a special guest joining us today, this friend of the show. She's an ESPN stats and information researcher, Jenni LaCroix. How we doing today, Jenni?
Doing great. We crowned a champion, so happy about that. And we're on to the WNBA draft. See what's going on there.
No doubt about it. You stole my open a little bit. We're about less than 48 hours from an NCAA women's basketball national champion being crowned. Congratulations to South Carolina. You were there in Minneapolis for the Final Four. Tell us, what was it seem like in Minneapolis, and what or who was the catalyst in South Carolina's national title?
It was just cool to experience it. The crowd was amazing. South Carolina's crowd showed up. There were so many Gamecocks fans there, including A'ja Wilson for the championship game and some other WNBA players. So it was just a great atmosphere to be a part of. And I mean, we got to talk about Aaliyah Boston because she's Aaliyah Boston, right? Like, she's obviously the defensive and offensive anchor for that team. She was phenomenal, through and through from first game to the finish. But Destiny Henderson, the last 3 games of that tournament, showed up. I mean, their guard play was a little questionable to begin with in those first 3 games. I think we saw that game where they only scored like 40 points or something, and we were all like, whoa, what's going on there? Yeah. But the last 3 games, when it mattered, Elite Eight Final Four championship, she put up double-digit scoring, which is what they needed in order to open up for Boston to do what she does. And she set her career high in the championship game. I think since 2000, no players ever put up their career high in a national championship game. That's just absolutely crazy. Yeah, I'm excited for her. She deserves all the praise and glory. We were a little shocked that Aaliyah Boston got most outstanding player in the Final Four, but
they almost could not give it to her. But
yeah, at that point, she played so well.
Seriously.
Through the entire tournament. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe she didn't put up as crazy of numbers. She's not a double-double, but as crazy numbers as she usually does. But I wish we could have given out 2 different awards, like best guard of the tournament, but best player. So yeah, it was really cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, it definitely was, Jenni. And I'm glad you brought up Henderson, and as much as you talk about the offense, because that's obviously what's going to be the headline, the defense is what impressed me. Because, I know Ozzie Fudd was dealing with the stomach issue, a little bit of a bug, but Becker's only had 14. And it seemed like overall South Carolina's defensive plan was really good, addressing UConn and holding them to some terrible shooting. How impressive was the guard defense and then just the overall defense in attacking that UConn group? Yeah,
that defense, I don't think there's a weak link on it. Like, everyone, when they come in, is a great defensive player, can play man-to-man and really D up. And what we talked about is, South Carolina's guards on offense struggled, but on defense, they were phenomenal throughout the tournament, no matter who they were playing. And Bree Beal is their number 1 defender. We thought they were going to put her on Paige Bueckers. They did and didn't. They could switch and do whatever they needed to, but Destiny Henderson guarded Bueckers quite a bit. And Bueckers was only 1 of 5 going against Destiny Henderson on the offensive end. So Destiny Henderson locked her down and not only played great offense, but shut down the main player on the other team, to her credit. And they're just AZ Fudd. Yeah, she had the stomach flu, or stomach bug, whatever it was. So obviously their offense was going to be a little tougher. She was playing limited minutes, based on how she felt. But I think even if she had played, South Carolina was locked in. They were locked in on defense. They played this team earlier in the year and locked them down in the 4th quarter. They knew what UConn wanted to do and said, no, we're not going to let you do that. We're going to make everyone else on this team beat us instead of Paige Bueckers today. And at that point, Paige Bueckers doesn't have a good game. It worked,
Yeah. No doubt about it. We got to talk about Dawn Staley. Two championships now. Obviously, she made history by becoming the first Black coach in men's or women's D1 history to win multiple national championships. This is my question. How close is she to joining, the Gino Auriemmas, the Pat Summitt, the crowd of, women's hoops coaching legends, if she isn't already in that crowd?
It's tough because she hasn't been coaching nearly as long, and she's already being quite as successful as the other 2, right? Like, she's going to be a legend, and she already is. She is among Gino in the fact that, she's coming off being a head coach of an Olympic gold medal team for USA basketball. Then the following year, she wins a national title. Her and Gino are the only 2 coaches to ever do that. Yeah. She's had a great run here, and that entire team could come back for next year.
Exactly.
So if she wins another one, she solidifies herself as, you know, an amazing coach and probably one of 4 coaches to win consecutive national titles, you know, in their career. Obviously, Gino's done it a couple times, but USC did it and Pat Summitt at Tennessee did it twice. She would join them in that as well if she were able to go on next year and do it again. So I think next year will be definitely a year where she can for sure solidify that she is among the top names, and she still has a lot of her career left to continue getting all of those accolades and reaching Gino and Pat Summitt's, you know, legendary status.
Yeah, and I mean, she led a great group. And this South Carolina team, I remember the last time we talked, we obviously talked a lot about the other teams that were in this tournament and who might win: Louisville, Stanford, UConn. But South Carolina went wire to wire. Did we just try and overthink it too much and just not address the pure domination that this squad had?
I don't think so. I mean, yes and no. So when they're that good, you have to kind of nitpick and say, where are their weaknesses, right? That's our job as analysts and as people who watch the game. We have to do our job and try to find out where their weaknesses are. And they did have them. I mean, they were not great offensively in those first 3 or 4 games. They did not show that they were dominant on defense, but on offense, they weren't great. And so me and a bunch of other people were thinking, well, when they go up against a team that offensively can maybe cause problems for their defense, how do they handle that? And they showed us that, no, they can play offense too when it's necessary and when they need to step up and do it. So I don't think our criticisms were, I think they were valid. And I don't think we overthought it in that sense. We've never seen a national champion since 2000 win when they were ranked outside of the top 25 on offense. So, and South Carolina is ranked 59th. So the stats tell us that there's no champion who's ever been able to do this without a top 25 offense. So, we're sitting here going, it's going to be a tough task. I don't think we overthought it, but South Carolina just proved everyone wrong and showed us that defense truly does win championships. So they really came out. And I think last year, just losing when they did, the way they did, fueled the fire. Aaliyah Boston said it, she saw a picture of herself crying constantly after last year, and that whole team was like, no, this is our year. We're not going to let anything stop us. We don't care what anyone has to say. We don't care if our offense maybe isn't a top 25 offense. No one's going to stop us from getting this championship. So I think they proved everyone wrong for sure.
The epitome of a revenge tour. Like she said, like that, she's probably thought about and seen that photo for a year now. And just to come out on top. And that's pretty crazy. I actually didn't know that about, no national champion being outside the top 25 in offense, never winning, and then being outside of that. It's pretty much an outlier. It's just pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, they're the lowest scoring offensive team, or season offensive team to win the national title ever in Division I history. So that's awesome. They did some really cool stuff this year.
No doubt about it. Transitioning a little bit, obviously, as you know, the WNBA draft is next week. Let's talk a little bit about that. I know Matt and I, a couple weeks ago, we were a little upset with you. We got a bone to pick with you. And it's our fault, really, because Matt and I weren't up on the talent that Rhyne Howard is, who appears to be, the one, if not the 2 overall prospect in this upcoming WNBA draft. Talk to us a little bit about Rhyne Howard from Kentucky, and also maybe the other top prospect, Nilissa Smith from Baylor. What are those 2 ladies, what are their games kind of revolve around, and where do you see them kind of falling at the top of the draft?
Yeah, I mean, so I think Nilissa Smith goes number 1. That's my thought process. She's such a dominant player on the boards, and she can score. She's averaging 20 and 10.
Yeah.
I mean,
walking double-double.
Walking double-double, just amazing. She's got really great footwork, pretty mobile for someone who's a forward, and would be really good as a counter with Elena Delle Donne on the Mystics. I think that's, with them losing Tina Charles, to have both of them as bigs being mobile, and if she can get an outside shot, like her 3-point being a little more consistent and able to shoot that more, that's huge for them. Obviously, assuming Elena Delle Donne comes back healthy for this season, but she would be great. They would be able to play off each other very, very well. Some high-low passes, everything like that. I think she goes number 1. I think Rhyne Howard is offensively and defensively a great player. the biggest thing I notice is sometimes she doesn't take plays off, but in big moments, maybe doesn't always want the ball to be aggressive.
Sure.
And she's by far the best player on the court. Go get the ball. You know, like I think she's a little not asserting herself as much as she could. I think if she starts asserting herself more, like she'll be dominant at the WNBA level. She'll be good for the Fever in the sense that I think she's 6'2" guard. She's massive.
Yeah.
Great on both ends, just like a Tamika Catchings was when she played for the Fever as a draft, like a lottery draft pick. I think that would be a great comparison in a sense. Obviously, Tamika was a forward and Ryan's a guard, but both 6'1", 6'2", play both ends of the court. Very, very dominant in what they do. And Lynn Dunn is now in charge of kind of the front office, you know, taking over the role since Tamika Catchings stepped down.
Sure.
And she coached the Indiana Fever when they were title contenders and won the title with Tamika Catchings. And so she knows what it takes to win championships. She knows what it takes to put together a team and what pieces they need around it. And I think she would want Ryan Howard on that roster if they want to be successful, for sure.
No doubt about it. That makes sense. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Smith is probably the safest bet, the more kind of complete, well-rounded game. But it's just something about Ryan Howard. Her game is just so – I just see the upside, and I just see that translating to the next level. She's so versatile, can do so many things on the court.
She's got every weapon in her arsenal, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously. But that's awesome stuff. Can't wait to watch the draft and see where these young ladies land at the next level. But that's going to do it for us. This was fun. As always, Jenni, thanks so much for joining us. That's going to do it for this episode of Simple Question. Go follow Jenni on Twitter. She's doing big things. We'll catch you on the next episode of Simple Question, though. For Scott Proctor, Matt Morris, Our Lady Jenni LaCroix, we'll see you next time.